Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth episode of Q&A with Christiaan. My name is Christiaan van Hemert, and in this video series I answer questions that were asked by members of the Rosenberg Academy. The Rosenberg Academy is an online gypsy jazz guitar school which you can find at rosenbergacademy.com. In today's episode I want to talk about gypsy jazz, lead guitar, or how to improvise a solo over a set of chord changes. And I basically want to answer just one single question. Where do you start if you want to learn how to play gypsy jazz lead guitar? Now, this question has been asked by every gypsy jazz guitar player in the history of this music, just because it is a real problem. The subject is so huge that it is very difficult to know where to start. So this episode will be a kind of quick start guide. It will enable you to take any song you like and go from I have no clue what to do to I can play a pretty good solo in a couple of days. Now, this may not be the most profound way of approaching this subject. That's why it's called a quick start guide, but I will go into other strategies in next episodes, but those strategies will take a lot more time to develop. So today's episode will deal with quick ways of creating your own solo. Improvised solo. I'm not talking about creating a preconceived solo. I'm really talking about improvising. As an example song, I've chosen the song I Can't Give You Anything But Love. And if you don't know the changes to this song, you can see them here. And you can see that I've marked every 2-5-1 in this song, because that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with 2-5-1s. So the first thing we'll need is a phrase to play over a 2-5-1 progression, a so-called 2-5-1 lick. And I'm going to pick some licks I like, and you will see the licks right here in tab as I play them. And if you need to study the tab, then of course you should pause the video, but they're just examples, so in the end you should pick your own licks, your own phrases that fit your taste to create your own sound. And also important that you should pick licks that are within the capabilities of your guitar technique. If you still need to work on your guitar technique, and frankly who doesn't, then that's something you should do separately from the stuff I talk about in this video. And for that, I would recommend checking out episode 2, in which I go into great detail about right hand picking mechanics and provide exercises to develop it. So this first lick is a real old school Django 2-5-1 lick, played by Django himself and played by many other players, especially Dutch style players. Sounds like this: 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to play the same lick, but I will end it differently, so the notes on the G chord will be different. Now I need to figure this lick out in the key of C, because there is a 2-5-1 in C, or even two 2-5-1 in C in this song as well. It's the same fingerings, it's only lower on the guitar neck, right here. Or the other one. That brings us to exercise 1. I play one chorus of I Can Give You Anything But Love with a backing track, and I'm going to try to play this lick everywhere possible. So every time there's a 2-5-1, I will play this lick. And I will do one chorus, but of course you can do 5 choruses to practice. after doing exercise 1 for some time, you should be pretty clear on where you can play your chosen 2-5-1 lick in the song. So now I'm going to improvise with this lick, which means I still play this lick, but I will be very free with it. I can slow it down, start at a different spot in the bar, play only the second half of the lick, play only the first half, repeat some notes, be very free with it, maybe add some triplets. For example, I could play maybe this. Or these are all variations of the same thing, and I can think of them on the spot, or I can work them out a little bit, but you can be very free with it, especially with the timing, where you start the lick, early, late, and if you start late you only play part of the lick. If you start early you can add some notes. So let's do another exercise 2, in which I play a chorus of I Can Give You Anything But Love with the same lick, but I'm being free with the lick. Now you can have a lot of fun with exercise 2, being free with the lick, and you can have a feeling of improvising even though you're using a lick as a basis. And the more you experiment with this at home, the more freedom you will feel when it's time to play that lick in a performance. Now we have one 2-5-1 lick, but I think we need to add another one just for variety, and also to find a different place on the guitar to play a 2-5-1, because now we have to jump for every 2-5-1. So I've chosen a 2-5-1 lick in G, which is here instead of there. And it's another classic jungle lick. Goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's play the same lick with a different ending to give us more options. And the lick in C would be here. With the other ending. Okay, let's do another example of exercise 1, playing this lick as clean as possible on every 2-5 possible. Okay, so we have done exercise 1. We're very clear about the lick, or where to play it. Now it's time for exercise 2, being free with the lick. And now the lick is pretty fast, there's some triplets in it, so I'm going to try to come up with some variations in which I slow the lick down. A lot of eighth notes, or starting a little later, playing only the second half of the lick. Let's see what happens. So that was a lot of fun, because I can tell you it's a lot of fun to be free like that, even though it's within the boundaries of a lick. So now it's time to have more fun even. I'm gonna improvise a chorus using both licks while being free. So I'm not gonna make a plan, I'm not gonna plan the licks like I'm going to play lick 1, and then lick 2, and then I'm going to play lick 2 again with a variation. I'm gonna be free. So it might happen that I don't play one lick, or I'm not being very free with one lick, or I'm being too free. We'll see what happens, but we're getting closer and closer towards a really free improvisation or a free solo. You've probably noticed there were some holes in the solo until now, some places where I was always playing chords. That's because those chords were not part of the 2-5-1 formula, but instead they were different formulas. There is a dominant chain consisting of only 2 dominants, A7 to D7, and in the end of the song there's Christoph changes. Now if you don't know what those are, I go into more detail about those formulas in episode 3, so go check that out. So let's start with the licks I've chosen for the dominant chain. I want to spice things up a bit, so for the dominant chain I've chosen some more modern, some more French style sounding licks. A7 to D7, this is the first one. 1, 2, 3. And here's the second one, same chords, A7 to D7, but now in a different place of the guitar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go to Christoph changes. Christoph changes are among the most challenging chord progressions to solo over, so it's a good idea to find some ways to navigate them. And for this video, to keep things as simple as possible, I've chosen to navigate them with some chords, some high chords, typical gypsy jazz solo chords, and some octaves. So you have both ingredients, because it's nice to play octaves or chords to break away from all the single line. So I've chosen this 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead of going through exercise 1 and 2 again with those licks, we're going to assume I did those. And I'm now at the point where I'm going to combine everything. So I have my 2-5-1, the first one, the second one. I have the Christoph changes with the chords, and I have the 2 licks for the dominant chain. But there is only one dominant chain in the song. And so I'm going to choose one of them. Probably I'll choose the one closest to the position my hand is at that time. But maybe not, maybe I'm going to jump. I don't know, let's see what happens. For the final touch, I like to add one more lick, one more 2-5-1 lick. 2-5-1s are the most used progressions, so you need the biggest collection of licks for 2-5-1s. And this is a lick combining a dim arpeggio, diminished arpeggio. We'll talk more about diminished arpeggios in later episodes, and a bebop lick. And it goes like this in G. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in C, it will go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say a little variation. Okay, I think it's time to combine everything we have. The 3 2-5-1 licks, the Christoph changes, and I'm going to try to play the other dominant chain lick and go for the end results after a couple of days of practicing, of course. And that brings us to the end of this episode. I want to assure you that every solo I've played was completely improvised. I'm talking, of course, about the exercises where I was supposed to be free. I didn't plan anything and just started the backing track and see what happens. And that's just to show you that it is possible to use licks or phrases and still be free and still improvise, even though within strict boundaries. But in this case, those boundaries just make sure that you sound good. Now you will find if you do this yourself, that the first time you actually try to do this on stage or on a gig, it will be more difficult than you thought, because a lot of things can happen that didn't happen at home. People can mess up forms, maybe your monitor isn't working or you cannot hear yourself. So in the end, it just takes experience to make this work anyway. But I promise you it will be the quickest way towards a good end product. Now in the next episodes, We're going to dive into other strategies, and I will talk about arpeggios and scales. I've got a lot of questions about scales especially, but funnily enough, I'm going to talk about arpeggios mostly. If you like these videos, please hit the subscribe button right here. It keeps me motivated to make more of these videos, and I will see you next episode. Later.